Now what you can do also, as well as this, is what I did with, what I've done with other characters, is again, you can take your character, which is not a bad idea ever, and that is to actually sort of define it in terms of a sort of like a model sheet, and you can sit there and say, well, what does he look like when he's in a side view, and what does he look like in a front view? So you can sort of sit there and say, okay, from a side view, maybe this is his, you sort of try to get that pose to work from a strictly, side view. Where is the belly? Where is the chest fit? Here's the shoulders. This is basically how he's going to look from a silhouette. I'm just going to draw the silhouette shapes like this. Coming down here, I'm going to create just sort of a silhouette shape that sort of says this is kind of the guy. And I'll have his tail sort of do this so we can have a... And then maybe though from the front, we have a situation where he's maybe a bit wider when you see him in the front. Because again, remember we talked about that I wanted to have sort of like a color separation that might come around here so that you can sort of have his, his little scales from the front. I'm just going to do a little thing there so that we have his nostrils and you can kind of see him smiling like this. But then maybe from the front, for instance, we have it sort of like this, and you have, again, it doesn't hurt to have a little sort of a positioning so that you can kind of imagine that maybe the neck kind of comes a little bit higher, goes down, you've got where the neck fits in, you've got where the belly fits in, and then of course you have where the feet are going to be sort of coming in like this. And it doesn't always have to be coming out like that. It can be a little bit more forward, but at least it gives you something, to where the knees are, for instance, or where the belly is, and how the arms are going to be, fitting on this. I'm just going to put these in very roughly so we can sort of see. It doesn't hurt to go through this exercise so that it allows you to, to sort of, and again, look how I'm looking at this. I'm looking at this very symbolically. I'm not even getting into like really fine, drawing here. I'm just looking at the basics of what, how would this be? Here's his smile. Here's his smile. I'm going to go to the peak. I've got the little bit of the, remember we put little whispers on his, little sort of peaks on his cheeks like that. That's the neck coming down. Now we sort of have, something that I can say, oh, okay. If I ever wanted to draw the character again, what I can do is I can go back to this. Maybe I tape it onto my drawing board and I look at it and I can look at it and say, oh, that's kind of what he's like. That's kind of what he's like. I can actually use that as a reference. This is just a very rough, again, sort of front and side, but it allows me then to sort of work with it and I can start to refine it.